Are you a perfectionist? Well, that's a quick test to find out if you are. Please quickly look at these numbers one time. Yeah, very quickly. Does anything about these numbers annoy you? If you get quite annoyed by these numbers, there's a very high chance that you are a perfectionist. How can we overcome perfectionism? Let's find out. So I'm going to share with you 5 ways how you can overcome your perfectionism. Now again, being a perfectionist is not necessarily a great thing. Me, myself, I used to be a perfectionist myself. Some of my friends are joking, it's because you're German, Ben. And there's a little bit of truth to that. Yeah, I would say that more of my German friends tend to be perfectionists than friends from other cultures. And being a perfectionist has so many downsides. It gives you more stress, it gives you more overwhelm, and it gives you this anxiety sometimes. If things are not perfect, then you're just not happy. You're just not content with your career, your work, and your life. And so we have to overcome it. Because when you overcome it, the relationships with everybody will go much, much better. Not just the relationship with yourself, no. The relationship with people at work will improve. Your relationship with people at home will improve. So we have to overcome perfectionism. So I'm going to share with you these tips now. Yeah, listen closely and use them right away. Tip number 1, set realistic standards. From my experience, and I am a former perfectionist. Yeah, from my experience and what I also see with those around me who have asked me about this, you have to set realistic expectations. If you do not have realistic expectations, then the chances of you becoming a perfectionist and being a perfectionist are much, much higher. So what does it mean setting realistic expectations? For example, myself in the past as well, my whole office desk had to be perfectly organized at all times. If not, I would not be what? Yeah, happy. And I would feel I could not get things done. Is that a realistic expectation? No way! Forget it. It's impossible, right? We have to realize that work and life, there's always this balance. There's chaos and then there's organization, and chaos again and organization again. The desk gets messy because you get busy. After you're done with the busyness, then you organize everything. Right? So it's very important, and many times actually perfectionists, they don't get to either of these. When it's messy, they can't take it. They're annoyed by it, they're frustrated, they feel overwhelmed. And then when it comes to organizing the things, you know what they get stressed about? How can I perfectly organize everything? And then the whole other level of perfectionism starts. Because if the organization is not perfect, I feel even more stressed. So instead of getting to it and quickly organizing everything, they first try to come up with a perfect system. Do you see how these standards can create some stress? They really did for me. Probably if you're watching this video, your unrealistic standards are also creating these challenges for you. So you have to soften these standards. You have to look. My recommendation is you list them up. What are standards in some of the main areas of your life that could be considered perfectionist, standards by other people's perspectives. Then ask yourself, how are they realistic? How could I soften these standards a little bit more? Number 2, finish things when they're 90% done. You're watching this probably now if you're a perfectionist and you go, what, Ben? Are you crazy? 90% done. That's not 100% done. That is not perfect. Exactly. Most projects, most things, when they're 90% done, they're pretty much set. They're pretty much done. And what perfectionists do, what do you spend most of the time on? The 90% or the last 10%? Yes. Perfectionists from my experience, and I used to be the same, we spent a smaller amount of time on the first 90% of a project, then we spent an extra 100% on the final 10% or more. Yeah, so you got to manage your expectations here. You got to practice that. Hey, if it's 90% done, it's good enough. Good enough is really good enough. So I got to let it go. I got to welcome it. Myself as well. part of my job is over the years I had to work with a lot of different types of designers. Graphic designers, product designers, slide designers, of course, as well. And I've noticed this trend with them as well. If you have a perfectionist, designer, they really work on the last 10%. They spend 99% of the time that they're working on these last 10%. And for me as well, leading my team, I gotta manage expectations. First, I look at the first 90%, if they're good enough, done. If we have to add a little bit more after, let's spend a realistic amount of time on that design work. So for you as well, think about which areas of your work, your life, you really have to decide where 90% done is good enough. Number 3, make mistakes on unimportant things. Now, what do perfectionists do? Are they just perfectionists in one area of their life? No. How you do anything is how you do everything. So it's a common theme in their life. They want to be perfectionists with just about everything, even things that don't matter so much. Now, don't get me wrong, perfectionists sometimes, if it's part of their work, it makes sense to be a perfectionist in some areas of your work. It makes sense. Like if you're an engineer, for example, or if you're a doctor, there are some things you have to be perfect at. But it doesn't make sense that you have to be perfect at every single thing. So I have a friend of mine, a huge perfectionist, just huge perfectionist. Yeah, and his work as well, he has to be to a certain degree a perfectionist. So it makes sense for him. But when I visit his home, he has this incredibly elaborate garbage system set up. How to throw away the garbage, how to separate the garbage, how to clean the garbage before you can put it in the garbage can. Wow. And I asked him, how long did it take you to set up this thing? And he said to me, Ben, it took me like 15 minutes. I look at him, I know you're lying to me. How long did it really take you planning, preparing, getting things set up? And he said, like 1 month maybe? I'm like, oh my God, you just wasted 1 month of your life creating this perfect garbage system that all your visitors cannot understand, cannot live with. So for you as well, okay, really think about it. If it's unimportant things like a garbage system at home or in the office, keep it simple, do it quickly, get it quickly done. Another example, a story from another friend of mine. He's in a leading position inside his company, and one of the tasks that they have to do, they have to choose the pens that they give to their customers. So as the leader, do you think it's a good idea to check 20 different pens to find the perfect one, spend a lot of time on it? No, you just delegate this kind of thing, correct? You delegate it to your team, you let them choose the final maybe 2 or 3 options, and then as the leader you make the final decision. What did he do? No, he looked at all the pens. He contacted all the companies himself. He wanted to figure out everything. And I was laughing about him. You're such a perfectionist. You just spent so much time that you could have used for high income activities. And he looked at me like, Ben, maybe you're right. But the pen is important. It has to be perfect. Your choice. Yeah, your choice. But again, whatever you might consider is not that important area of your life, of your career, try to be less perfect. Try to minimize that perfectionism, at least and especially at the beginning in those areas. Number 4, to overcome perfectionism, have imperfect reminders. Have that scratch on that shoe and leave the scratch on your shoe. That little scratch that's not that big of an important. Yeah, or another scratch on an item that you really like. Don't throw it away, keep it. Keep it on your desk, look at it. Okay, this is a sign of life, this is a sign of perfectionism. This shows that I'm doing things. Perfectionists are often stuck moving forward because they worry about breaking things, messing things up. Don't do it. Have reminders around you all the time of imperfectionism. Get an item that's completely imperfect. Put it on your desk as a big reminder every single day. Yeah, but remind yourself that it's okay not to be perfect in every single thing that you do. Number 5, this is a big one, a really big one if you're a perfectionist. Accept that it will never be done. Now, what is it? It could be anything. It could be the perfect storage system. Yeah, it could be you setting up and creating your company. It could be creating your career. It could be your marriage with your spouse, okay? Or a dating plan that you create for your boyfriend or girlfriend. It will never be done. Accept it. I don't know why, but as perfectionists have this habit that they think, you know, if I create the perfect thing, at some point it will be perfectly done, and then it's over. It's not true. Everything needs upkeep. Everything needs to continuously improve, be made better. Yeah, we have to keep moving forward. If you focus on something and you want to make it and finish it until it's perfect, chances are things are already changing again. So you have to change it again. So you're hunting, you're going for that really unrealistic standard, this vision that you have of a perfect life, of a perfect career, and it doesn't exist. Things are changing in the world, things are changing in your industry all the time. Yeah, so keep it as a reminder. They will never be perfect and you will never be done, but you keep moving forward. You just keep moving forward, you take the changes and you adjust. So comment below one time, are you a perfectionist? And if you are, what are your perfectionist habits? What are things that you do that drive you and other people sometimes crazy? And what are you going to do from now on to overcome it? If you haven't done it yet, by the way, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Yeah, if you like this video, you can click like as well. And most importantly, I really look forward to seeing you for the next video.